Welcome to Basically Sci-Fi, the short storytelling podcast where we tell stories you can basically call sci-fi. I'm Jared.
I'm Todd.
And I'm Adam.
So, following up the conversation we had last week, I did watch Dune last night, and it was fucking awesome. But the reason I hadn't watched it last week was that apparently it released a week earlier in Japan.
Oh.
Because it didn't release here until Thursday on HBO Max and then Friday in theaters.
It was basically the best movie you've ever seen in your whole life, right?
No, but it was good. It was competent. It got the story across. It was on par with the David Lynch version for me.
With Sting's weird bikini?
Yeah.
All right.
I love David Lynch movies, though. They're fucking weird. Like Eraserhead. That creepy fucking baby.
I wish I could get away with that. Like, I want to be the artist that people appreciate, but like they're like, oh, he does whatever he wants, and I don't care for it, but I will pay for it.
Yeah, that'd be ideal.
That would be.
Oh, they're so avant-garde. But really, he's just wrapped an aborted lamb fetus in towels and put little things to make its jaw move in it.
Oh,
and
no.
Called it a baby.
Did he do that?
Yeah, you haven't seen Eraserhead?
No, I don't watch many David Lynch movies.
Oh man, Eraserhead is an absolute must-see. But it's supposed to be a human baby that died before birth. Or was sort of born, but hadn't finished gestating. I don't know what exactly, but
they took it out uncooked.
They used a dead, I don't know if it was a lamb or a cow fetus as its head.
Jesus.
Well,
so
you use what
it
you've
just
got
looks
on
like
hand.
an alien.
Yeah.
But it's like wrapped in these blankets the entire movie until the end when they cut it open and you find out it has no body. All of its internal organs are just being held together by the blankets.
And it's alive the whole time?
Oh yeah.
In the movie, not in real
Yeah.
life.
No, not in real life. In the movie, it's supposed to be alive. Yes, it would take too long to describe, but the whole thing and why it makes sense, or doesn't, as the case may be.
Welcome to the descriptions of body horror ASMR, where we tell you what David Lynch movies looked like.
So he's a horror artist. He does horror.
No, not really. I wouldn't call David Lynch movies horror. It's just a horrifying aspect of an otherwise somewhat mundane story. Like I said, I don't really want to describe the entire plot of Eraserhead for the podcast, but
no, we don't have to.
It's worth watch.
Speaking of describing the entire plot of a thing, what did we do last week?
Same thing we do every week.
We tried to take over the world?
Tried to take over the...
Sorry.
What? No, we had a collection of amazing stories written by me and Adam with the future goal of one day hearing it perfected by Jared.
And that's what I have in store. A perfect story.
Woo!
Yay.
I guess. Maybe. I don't know. It's alright. I wrote it in 3 hours, so. it's good enough.
I had fingered to keyboard for maybe a total of 3 hours over the course of many days, so it's the same thing, you know?
I'm finishing off the story that we've been writing together about Rufus Conway and his adventures with a bunch of shitty capitalists and Sahit, who has issues of his own, because I decided he did. So I didn't give this story a name because I didn't know if we were doing that. I don't remember you guys giving names to yours. But my memory is trash.
I don't think I gave mine a name either.
I mean, I think I did, because, yeah. Maybe it's the title of the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
This is Existential Bread. Part 3.
All right.
Electric Pea.
Sahit teleported into Rufus's room. He knew it was Rufus's 802nd day, and as such, a day off from making his delicious bread pudding. Coffee in hand, Sahit rang the doorbell and waited. After 5 minutes, he considered ringing the doorbell again, but instead took out a much crumpled piece of paper from the lovely crumpled piece of paper master, who happened to be one of Sahit's other friends. He left a note that read, "Hello, Rufus. I understand if you don't want visitors on your day off. I will leave this coffee for you to start your day on your own time. I look forward to our visit tomorrow." He left the coffee and the crumpled note by the door, but as he was about to ask the hologram to send him home, the door behind him opened, and a bleary Rufus stepped out. Wiping the sleep from his eyes, he stopped to pick up the coffee and note, wondering why it hadn't arrived on a tray with a cloche, like it usually did. What, are they just leaving the trash with the food now, too? He thought to himself. It was only then, stooped over and grumbling audibly, that he noticed Sahit, grinning like a fool, and showing off his startlingly blue porcupine needle-like teeth, with arms stretched out for a hug. "My friend, I was about to leave. How are you?" Sahit asked. "Oh, well, just woke up, so tired, but it is good to see you. I was hoping to talk about my life milestone." "Ah, yes. Well, it makes for a difficult decision, doesn't it? What were you thinking? A new house? A spouse? Maybe a little one to teach the art of bread pudding to?" "Actually, I was thinking about memory wipe."
Oh.
"What you said to me when we first met the other day. You really think my bread pudding is crap now?" Rufus asked, obviously deeply hurt by the idea that his pudding isn't cutting it anymore. "Oh, no, that isn't what I meant," Sahit said, suddenly realizing what he thought was supposed to be an eye-opening moment about the futility of their dire situation had just come across as mild bullying to Rufus. Sahit's people, the Salaxians, were a much older race. The endless consumers had seeded his planet early on, knowing full well the need for good coffee was of paramount importance to maintain a happy workforce. Bread pudding had come much later, when the idea that only a truly, beautifully perfect society could create a perfect version of it. They were correct in this, of course. It takes the absolute perfect consumer to be obsessed with the lactations of another animal that even people with reactions like Rufus's would gladly still consume it only to spend the rest of the day on the toilet. Yes, you needed just the right amount of poverty, avarice, and gluttony to achieve perfect bread pudding in the end. Sahit, seeing the sad look on Rufus's eyes, led him back into the apartment and held out his orb and stopped time so he could discuss his true plans. "Okay, now that we have some privacy, I wanted to ask you to use your milestone on a friendship. Ask to be friends with the master of cozy quilts like Grandma used to make," Sahit said. "What? I don't have a quilt," Rufus replied, confused. "You don't?" Sahit almost shouted in surprise. "Everyone should have a quilt. What do you get cozy under on a cold day then?" "I just use a blanket? What's the big deal?" "Ah, well, you see, the key here is like Grandma made. You just can't compare the two." "All right, I'll order one," Rufus relented, "and then I'll ask to be your friend." "Good. Now, back to real time." Sahit put the orb back in his pocket. The time bubble collapsed, and Rufus ordered them some breakfast. He got some Mexican omelets and a couple mugs of beer.
Ooh.
It was his day off, and Rufus figured he could at least spend it being moderately irresponsible, if it was the only act of rebellion he could manage. He passed Sahit his omelet and asked the question that had been nagging him. "So, is this from the best omelet maker or the best Mexican omelet maker?" "Well, The answer's obvious, isn't it? Are you the pudding master or the bread pudding master? Am I the
Oh.
hot bean water master or the coffee master? Sahit said matter-of-factly. Oh, yeah. I hadn't thought of that, I guess. The two sat contentedly munching away for a few minutes, and Sahit looked at what Rufus could only assume was his watch and said, Well, I should be going now. Have a lovely day off. He walked out the door and vanished. Rufus went to his computer and got on the intranet and ordered himself a quilt. It arrived with patterns of things he vaguely remembered offhandedly telling his grandmother he was interested in as a child, and he put it over his lap, and goddamn if Sahit wasn't right. Rufus took a bit of a nap, being so comfortable between the blanket, beer, and hearty meal. He woke up around noon and sent off his milestone friendship request, and received immediate instructions from the consumer hologram to step outside his apartment. He did so and was instantly teleported to a hallway identical to his own, just more well-traveled. He went to ring the doorbell, but before he could, the door opened, and a sweet old lady looked up at him and said, Hello, dearie. We've been expecting you.
Ooh.
In a tone all honeyed and sweet. As he entered the room, he saw that the old lady who had greeted him was connected by a long series of tendrils coming from her back to another altogether more ghastly creature, the appearance of whom would give Rufus nightmares for weeks to come.
Jesus, what?
Yeah, okay.
Seeing his discomfort, the old lady said, Oh, don't mind him. He's my twin, the master of slightly problematic storytelling, like Grandpa used to do. He's just a big teddy bear, even if he looks like a hardened criminal with a skin disease. This did little to ease Rufus's nerves, until Sahit stepped out from a corner. He held out his orb, and for the second time that day stopped time around them. There, now we can speak plainly. You see, we are in need of your help, Rufus, bread pudding master, the old lady began. We are going to overthrow the endless consumers and install our own government here at the end of time, where folks can gather in groups of more than 5 and talk openly of dissatisfaction without fear of memory wipes, or even go home if they wish. Why would someone want to go home? It's the same as here, just harder to get by. Here we're all assigned jobs we're just good at, Rufus said. Well, not everyone is from Earth, Sahit interrupted. Some of us have homeworlds even more desirable to return to.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a bit of a shithole.
Don't be too hard on him, Sahit, the old lady said. The consumers seeded his planet to be the perfect representation of consumption. This would be like paradise to him. Wait a second. How do you two know what planet I'm from? I never told either of you that, Rufus said, suddenly uncomfortable with his new friends. Sure you did. Sahit tried to bluff. The old lady cut him off. You are correct. You didn't. However, we knew, because we've all known each other for a very long time. I'm Teddy. We've been friends for almost 2,500 day-night cycles. That's impossible. I've only been here for 802, Rufus shouted. You are mistaken. You see... Sahit started, but was interrupted by Rufus this time. Nah, bro. Isn't this where you offer me the red or blue pill? I want my blue pill. Or is it the red one that gets you the fuck out? Either way, I want the one where I get out of here. Now, dearie, let's all calm down. You see, the reason we need you is because the consumers admire you and your species. We believe you'll be able to trick them into starting this project over on Earth, leaving us to control here, Teddy said in a voice so soothing it could charm an alligator. It still doesn't make any sense. You said you've known me for 2,500 days? That's like 20 years. I've only been here 800 days. That's only like 6 years, or whatever.
He's pretty good at math. I mean, I didn't do it. but yeah, he did it off the top of his head.
Well, appalling math aside, the endless consumers... Because that is entirely the wrong math. No, the joke was that 2,500 days is about 6 years.
Okay.
800 days is about 2.5 years.
Like I said, I'm not doing the math.
No, I think it's always good to add in a joke that needs to be explained. Well, appalling math aside, the endless consumers found out about your part in the plan and wiped your memory. Twice. We sent Sahit to recover you this time, because you always have a violently visceral reaction to Buddy, my twin's appearance. And it seems to have worked so far. Teddy went on to explain the need for secrecy in excruciating detail, to really drive home the point that he can't talk about this outside of a time bubble, as this was why he had been wiped both times. After she was comfortable with the idea that he finally understood, Teddy asked him, "So, are you in or out? Do you want to go back to pudding all day every day? Or help us?" "Well, I am kind of bored with it, so whatever. Sure. What do I have to do?"
There we go. We got the plot moving.
Yeah, Rufus answered, not having anything better to do. "First, you must request a visit with the endless consumers." Teddy laid out their grand scheme. Once sure he wouldn't forget anything, she concluded with, "Now we're going back to real time. But remember, we have just met. So ask us something vague that the listeners won't pick up on." An hour later, Rufus returned to his home. He ordered himself some ice cream and a new video game. He put the disc in. When it started downloading patches, he got annoyed, thinking to himself, "Greatest game designers still need a day one patch?" Then he got up and summoned the consumer hologram. "What can I do for you, Rufus?" the hologram asked. "Well, I was thinking. I've only met you and one other consumer. How many of you are there? Did you summon me to ask silly questions that you and I both know I'll just duck?" "Oh, sorry," Rufus said with just a hint of shame, recalling one of his professors from med school's favorite saying, "There are no stupid questions, just stupid people trying the best they can."
Good?
Very optimistic.
I guess.
Yeah. "Can I talk to someone in charge? I have this idea that I can't shake, and I need someone to explain to me why it's stupid." "Oh, no, don't think such things. Your people are perfection incarnate. I'm sure it's a lovely idea," the hologram said excitedly, then transported Rufus to a large oval room, where a moodily lit desk that was shaped to follow the contours of the room. "I see you've noticed our desk. It was made by the desk master. You should employ his services someday," the one on the far left said. "It is very nice." "Yeah," Rufus said before getting to the point. "So, I was thinking, why did you set up your super time here at the end of the universe? Isn't keeping us in a time loop just before the end of all things cost prohibitive?" Rufus looked at his palm, where he had written notes for this speech. "You consider my people a perfect life form, yeah?" There were some nods of approval from the council. "Well, why not go to Earth? The people there would absolutely adore your rule. Maybe you wouldn't have..." He glanced at his hand again. "The greatest of everything? But if you offer the people some simple amenities," another glance, "they will love your rule, and you won't have to wipe so many people's memories." There were some murmurs. Then the consumer in the middle spoke up. "And what would we do with everyone here? Why wouldn't we just bring them with us?" Rufus looked to his forearm this time, where he had possible rebuttals written. "Well, you could send the ones that want it back home. Others of us prefer the life here and want to stay and govern ourselves. As for taking us, I don't think it would work. If you brought the greatest craftspeople the universe has to offer to Earth, people would just get uppity about foreigners."
Very true.
Yeah.
Taking all our jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
"Oh yeah. And who would be left in charge here?" the one on the far right asked. "Well, I don't know. maybe an election would be held, or whatever. The one in the middle spoke up again. It's hard to deny that this is a spectacular idea. Your people are truly incredible, he said with awe in his voice. It is the decision of this council. We shall pursue this opportunity. It seems we have much to learn about consumption from your people.
Of course.
And they have much to learn about their true potential from us. One last thing, Rufus said. That guy who caught me walking around with the key, he was a dick. Don't let him wander around on his own. People on Earth may have more violent reactions to him than you're used to. Oh my, sorry about him. That's Carl. He has anger issues, the one in the middle said. Rufus presented the council with some fresh-made bread pudding as a thank you before they sent him back home, where he went promptly to bed. The next day, he woke up with a recorded message from the Endless Consumers outlining their plan to leave with some basic instructions on how to get home, and that those who remain should probably elect Rufus for his inspiring consumerism. Rufus visited Teddy and Buddy. Sahit was already there. He said, I actually can't believe it worked. It was so simple. Yeah, why did it take so long to try? Well, we spent most of the time building weaponry, thinking a violent revolution may be necessary, Teddy said. So I guess this is goodbye? Rufus asked Sahit. Well, you will need someone with my training to maintain the time loop machines, so I think I'll stay with you guys for a while. And they all lived happily ever after, except for Buddy, Teddy's twin, who she didn't allow to speak because he was kind of dumb.
Whoa.
He wasn't happy so much as resigned. The end.
Oh my god, okay.
Wait a minute, I thought Buddy was supposed to be the vaguely problematic storyteller.
Yeah.
He's got to speak to tell stories.
Yeah. No, she just has him write them down.
Ooh.
I know, I instantly thought of my grandpa's problematic story when you said that.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Oh, tell it on air, please.
Grandpas all have
tell it on
problematic stories.
No.
Both my grandpas did.
Look, point of the story, he's a great guy and not a racist.
Just a product of his time.
Only one of my grandfathers was a racist, but that's just because he was in World War II. He did not enjoy Japanese people.
Oh, that's a very old-timey racism.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a racism born of experience from that time a Japanese guy flew his plane into the ship he was on. Tried to kill everybody on it.
Jesus.
I think you concluded our story perfectly.
Yeah, speaking of the story that we told today.
I loved how, you finally, I mean, you did, how you picked up on the, some of the smoking guns that, I laid down in the first part of the story,
Yeah, I think I grabbed a couple from Adam's story, too.
Yeah.
And I tried, there were quite a few kicking around, so I tried to answer as many as I reasonably could without derailing the story too much.
Who left all these smoking guns laying around?
Yeah. With Adam's story, I was like, how did they know his name? And Adam's like, because he read it off the plate. But then you took that and was like, no, it's because he used the memory wipe from the first story.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
I love how they...
I really liked the idea of the memory wipe, and that was the first thing that popped into my head after your first story was like, oh, he wasn't just abducted, he had his memory wiped. He's been here for ages. But
I love that twist, that reveal. That was really fun.
Yeah.
It was very good. Yeah. And I love the joke there at the end, because I as I was listening, I wrote down in my own notes, I'm like, yeah, I really didn't see the peaceful resolution coming either.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like,
I expected them
I
to
guess I could have cut out like the first half of the story and done more of a violent thing, but I thought, yeah, they look up to him and humans as like perfect people, so why wouldn't they like agree with what he's saying? It's like perfection incarnate in front of them, from their perspective at least.
You just explained why we have Illuminati on Earth. They're aliens who just love our consumerism.
Trying to make us better consumers.
Fucking stoking the flames of consumerism.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're gonna have a real fun time on Earth though, with all the trees being dead. It's gonna be great.
And I don't know, I was thinking there in the end that all the characters are still there, so we could potentially continue this story someday.
Yeah. Yeah, no. We could.
Yeah, they're still there.
I don't really know where it would go, but I guess that's kind of
it is kind of the
point of
this
format.
But also,
this was fun, and we should do it again.
I do like the idea of this being like its own contained. It feels really fun to like make a thing from start to finish, as well.
Yeah. Spoilers. There may be some changes coming to the channel just based on this experience.
We liked this a lot.
We really found ourselves.
We haven't fully padded anything out or talked it through fully, but we're considering it. If you enjoyed the way or preferred the way we did this, let us know.
Leave a like, comment, and subscribe
to inform the decision that we're going to make, regardless of whether you liked it or not. So, like, comment, subscribe, all that stupid bullshit.
And then
leave a like, comment, subscribe, saying if you liked this format better than listening to the other format.
So until next time, see ya.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.